let's take a look at our top selections. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, kicking off the 20-cent Empire 6 on New York Showcase Saturday at Belmont Park. Race number 6 is the Empire Distaff. Let's take a look at the field. Fillies and mares going a one-turn mile and a 16th. We've got last year's Empire Distaff winner, the number 2 Radakowski. That race was won at a mile. She likes to be forwardly placed. She's stretching back out to what I feel is a more appropriate distance than the sharp 7 furlongs from last time. And Mike, she could be very strong on the lead.
Yeah, that feels like it's a real advantage in here. I mean, it actually feels like a pretty well-matched group on paper, Dan. There are horses coming in from a lot of different directions, but it feels like the real advantage that Radakowski, the morning line favorite, has is that she's the best speed in the race, and it just feels like she could perhaps get clear early in here.
Nice segue to our Timeform US pace projector, where you see the number 2, Radakowski, expected to make the front. Making Sense has speed. She was able to get to the lead in the 2-turn Fleet Indian last time out at Saratoga. I just don't think she's as naturally fast as Radakowski. The good news for fans of Making Sense is that she has proven that she can sit and finish.
Yeah, it's certainly not going to necessarily affect her if Radakowski outruns her to the lead. I don't think that she necessarily wants to be in a position of chasing that horse, Dan, but if she can find a way to settle into a comfortable spot, perhaps she can take the necessary step forward here and beat this field.
The number 1, Forever Changed, has some tactical ability, and she'll be stretching out off a series of sprint races. She's run 3 times this year, Mike, 2 bad ones and 1 good one. And the 1 good one came against New York breds. Can you simply look at her other 2 races and say, listen, she's not ready for open allowance horses. She fits with these?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you would want to, perhaps see her run a little bit better in the 2 races against Open Company. I mean, she really didn't make an impact either time. So that's a little bit of a concern, but you're absolutely right. Her race 2 back in the Union Avenue, I thought she ran deceptively well there without a great trip. And so getting back in with New York breds, I think, helps her. It's just a little interesting to look at her on paper, Dan. Obviously, she's kind of slow for this kind of a field, but they've only routed her 3 times on dirt. She's won 2 of those 3 races. I feel like the distance is okay for this horse. There aren't that many long shots in the field, but her, at some kind of big price in this race, I thought she was mildly interesting to try to make a case for.
Last year's winner, Radakowski, looked good off the layoff in the Critical Eye Stakes. She was away for a long time. She set a pressured pace at Belmont in June, and she just held on by a neck over Mrs. Orb, who's also in this race. And again, they cut her back last time out to 7. Didn't break great, little bit of traffic issue. I think the distance got her beat more than anything else. She stretches out with speed, and she's the one to catch and beat.
Yeah, I think so too. I didn't love them cutting her back to sprint last time. I just don't think that's going to work out for her. I think she's just more a naturally fast horse going a little bit longer where she can get clear and not have to really be used early. That's her real advantage. I thought her Critical Eye was excellent off the layoff, Dan. I know that she just barely held on. When you watch the replay, you can see that she was clearly getting tired at the end of the race, but she was getting tired after setting legitimate fractions in there. I mean, that was a race that was fast early and slow late. And I thought she did really well just to hang on in there. I think she's going to be tough in this race.
The 3 Making Sense has never been off the board from 6 lifetime starts, and her only 2 one-turn route races produce dynamite blowout victories. She's pretty good around 2 turns as well, as we see from her most recent race at Saratoga going a mile and an 1/8. This is the Fleet Indian for 3-year-old fillies, and we see Making Sense control the pace from the start. This is one of the great assets to having Luis Saez as a jockey. He can be aggressive, he can judge the pace, and he's a strong finisher.
Yeah, all those things came together in this race, to be sure, Dan. He put this horse right on the lead. She really didn't take any pressure up front, and now she's just going to dig in to hold on here. A nice performance for her and another step in the right direction for her. She has plenty of speed. I don't know if she's as fast as Radakowski early, so we'll see, if she can get comfortable sitting off that horse. I feel like she wouldn't be well served necessarily by trying to chase Radakowski in here, but maybe she can sit a trip and take another step forward. I think she has to improve to win here. But that's what she's been doing lately, Dan. She just keeps taking steps forward.
Like Radakowski, the number 4 Singular Sensation has only raced twice this year, has given good performances both times, including this victory at Saratoga over the summer. This race on July the 22nd for trainer Mark Henning. She's on the outside. She has to work the length of the stretch here to get to the leader, Eloquent Speaker, who got away with a nice, easy lead. I like the professionalism and determination that Singular Sensation showed in winning this race. Going to have to improve a little bit, but she's so lightly raced, that is not out of the question at all.
Yeah, you wonder if she can take a step forward. She did miss a lot of time after just missing to Radakowski at Saratoga last summer. Just came up short to that horse with an 83 buyer. And then she missed a lot of time. She came back off the layoff. I won't be too hard on her for that race. Making Sense just buried her through the stretch. But, that was a long time away for this horse. And she did improve again last time. I mean, I feel like the mile and an eighth, the 2-turn mile and an eighth at Saratoga really helps her. I think that's really what she wants to do, is go a little bit longer. But she certainly is open to more improvement here.
I think Jeremiah Engelhardt and the Connections have done a really nice job with the number 5 Critical Value. She was a precocious and early 2-year-old. She did a lot of work as a 2-year-old. They gave her plenty of time to find her footing. She came back with a nice win sprinting in her 3-year-old debut, and her most recent race was okay against entry-level allowance horses. Let's watch Critical Value's last race right now. She's on the far outside in here, and she has a look at this thing, Mike, turning into the stretch. She's going to flatten out just a bit, but this was a good field of entry-level open allowance horses.
Yeah, she was right there in contention down inside the 8th pole. Ultimately not quite good enough here, but she's going to leave the rest of this field behind and finish a good third, I thought. I think you sort of have to get past the Fleet Indian 2 starts back, where she was a pretty clear-cut favorite and just didn't run well at all. I think she's made it pretty clear, though, Dan, that she does not want to go a 2-turn mile and an eighth. I just think it's too far for her. This race is only a mile and 16th, but around 1 turn, I think it suits her much better. And she has races that if she can just improve a little bit, she could be a real factor in this race.
The 6 Lucky Move was always the kind of mare to me that ran to the level of her competition, but you have to admit she's improved this year for trainer Juan Carlos Guerrero, pulling off a big upset in the Obeah Stakes, an open stakes race at Delaware Park 4 starts back, where she was 42-1. And the race was probably more notable for 2 things. One, the major favorites in that race didn't show up. B, the pace kind of fell apart. But this mare was ridden very confidently that day and swept by everybody with a 5-wide run. She just didn't fire last time out in the Ladies' Secret, but she's been in some tough open spots, and I just think the drop's going to work for her.
Yeah, it just makes a lot of sense to come back to a race like this for her. It certainly has to help her, Dan. She's just been in over her head in her last 3 starts. I agree with you. I thought her race off the layoff at Delaware was an excellent performance. If she runs a race like that, she's going to be tough. She is a horse, though, who needs a little bit of pace to be most effective. I mean, she's going to really need Radakowski to either take some pressure or to just go a legit pace up front. And I think both of those things are possible. And that would give Lucky Move her best chance to win here.
Mrs. Orb is very versatile. She fires no matter the distance, as long as you give her just a little bit of pace to run into. Let's watch the Union Avenue handicap at Saratoga, going 7/8 of a mile. Mrs. Orb is the number 3 in this race, and she's rallying on the outside in the red cap with the red noseband. She's going to finish second. Radakowski is in this field, the number 1, and you'll see Radakowski steady a little bit, but Radakowski, I thought she was kind of tired at this point.
Yeah, she wasn't getting to the horse on the lead there, the eventual winner, newly minted. And then she, sort of crossed over on her heels, and that cost her. But it didn't look to me like she was winning anyway. And listen, Mrs. Orb did what she always does, Dan. She just shows up and tries really hard. That was a race that was coming back to her a little bit. And so it's a little deceptive that she finished so close in there. But she still ran well, and she's just been in really good form for a very underrated trainer for quite a while now.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Empire Distaff. I'm not way against Radakowski at all. I'm intrigued by the drop with Lucky Move. I like her at this mile and a 16th distance. And the way she swept around that field at Delaware makes me think that maybe the wide sweeping turns at Big Sandy are going to work to Lucky Move's advantage. I think the pace is not going to be blazing. I think it'll be solid. She'll make her run.
Yeah, I think your horse is a contender for sure in this race. I took Radakowski on top. I just feel like she's going to make the lead in here. And I just feel like that's going to give her a real advantage on this field. I'm expecting her to take a step forward now after they tried to sprint her last time to no avail. I like her, and I threw Critical Value in there, Dan. I feel like this horse fits really well in this race and gets it a good trip.
2, 5, 6, and 1 for Mike, 6, 5, 3, and 2 for me. It's the Empire Distaff. It's race 6 at Belmont, and we kick off Saturday's 20-cent Empire 6.